The Auburn Tigers drop another one, 31-13 in Athens, Georgia. Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo Podcast. Let's go, Auburn family, Uptempo gang, man. Good morning, Dustin Smith, Blake Lane back with another edition of the Uptempo Podcast. Little reaction pod, another disappointing loss in the Deep South's oldest rivalry, but I think me and Blake both kind of feel like this one was coming. Blake's a little bit under the weather today, so I might have to do majority of the talking. This will be a little bit of a quicker episode than normal, but Blake, just not really a surprise the way this one played out, huh?
No, look, I'll give the Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze the talent gap excuse on this game. I think you went in there and you competed, and you had an unfortunate ending to the first half. I wish we could kind of take back the shot to Cam Coleman right before half and just kind of work that clock down a little bit more. And then you had the unfortunate ball that went through his hands and they end up scoring the touchdown. It was just a really bad ending to the first half. And I think you kind of knew at that point, like, hey, it's probably not going to go our way. We really needed to keep that thing at 10-3 instead of 14-3. They got ball coming out of half. So I think you competed in the second half. You could have cleaned some stuff up. There were plays to be made that might would have got you a little closer, but I'm not going to sit here and harp on these kids today. And I'm not going to harp on the coaching staff much because I'll give you the talent gap excuse for this one. And I wanted Auburn to go in and show me something. And you did. I got that out of this game. You showed me that you could go into Athens and you could compete and you could hang around and possibly keep it close, and I feel like you did that. And I know it got a little rocky at the end and everything, and the final score really doesn't portray what the game was actually like. But I think you got to walk out of Athens with a little bit of confidence and say, hey, we didn't turn it over. There were plays to be made if we can come down with some balls. Some shots like Cam Coleman and that fade and the 50-50 shot. Like, if you can work on them things, Malcolm Simmons had a chance late in the game. If you can start coming down with some of those balls and make some plays to put yourself in better situations, you got a chance to go on the road and beat Missouri after this bye week. And I think this is a really nice spot for you to be on a bye after Missouri just got shellacked by Texas A&M. So there's a possibility that you do go to Como and you get a dub and you come back and you're feeling yourself for Lexington. You're 2-4 right now, and you got to win 4 games to get to a bowl game. And there's 4 games that are still available on your schedule. Let's be honest, we wasn't playing in Nashville yesterday. It could have been worse. Maybe that game opens up and there's a chance in that one. A lot of people didn't think that we could possibly hang with Alabama, and hey, you never know. It's college football any given Saturday. So there's still a possibility, that you need 4 wins. And after yesterday, I feel like, you see Missouri go down and you got Kentucky on your schedule. I know that defense is really good, but there's a possibility that you could still win 4 games. And yeah, we're young, man. We're young. That's really what I take out of it is we're young. There's a lot of young puppies on that defense that are playing really well. And I talked with a Georgia fan last night, and this is the last thing I'll say on this is I talked to a good Georgia buddy of mine, and he said that he was very impressed with Auburn's defense. He said that those kids, he said that's a different defense over there. He said Auburn normally has a really good defense. He said they hang their hat on their defense. He said, but that defense was different. And I said, "Hey, man, there's a lot of true sophomores and a lot of true freshmen out there." Keldrick Falk, tip the cap, brother. Tip the cap. He brought it. He brought it. I just feel like we could point out numerous freshmen. Jay Crawford, I feel like he's going to play in the NFL one day. Um, I was impressed, man. I can't down these kids. I was pretty dang happy for them.
Yeah, me too, man. For the most part, effort. We'll get into Cam Coleman's lack of effort, I'm sure, at some point. But overall, man, really pleased. Keldrick Falk he's arrived. He is officially arrived at what we all thought that he would become, and that's a good feeling. And I made this point on the War Report post game yesterday. So ask yourself this: that's a true sophomore out there that you're seeing play at an elite NFL level. So how many other of these true freshmen that are out there playing this year will maybe arrive at that point next year? I mean, Crawford's already showing he's a dog, so where will he be at next year? Same thing for DeMarcus Riddick. I can go on and on down the list. The one thing that I've really disagreed with, or the narrative I've disagreed with all year, is that there's some fans out there that seem to think our secondary is just terrible. And I just don't see that. Like, I don't see that. I think Auburn fans have gotten used to like really, really good secondaries. You just put 3 guys in the NFL last year out of the defensive backfield. So I think that's maybe one of the things where you're kind of spoiled a little bit. But these guys aren't playing bad. There's still some things that are happening. But hell, man, I think that like an upperclassman in Keontae Scott's probably been the biggest liability back there. So I look at the underclassmen and I'm like, I see him getting better every game. I thought yesterday, and Ike will do the film breakdown and we'll get to rewatch it, but just initial reaction was I thought they were kind of eating our linebackers up. Like I don't think we have linebackers right now that can really can pass cover very well. I love Eugene Asante, but he just seems to struggle in pass coverage. And my OC, I'm just not impressed overall with him, really, but especially in pass coverage. I feel like the secondary is kind of getting a lot of blame for like lack of pass rush at times, and the linebackers, Blake, leave holes open in the middle.
Hey, I just want to ask you real quick, and anybody in the chat. Austin Keys looks like he's going at about 70% to me.
Yeah.
Hey, he looks 3 steps too slow. I don't know. I don't know. It looks like he's off.
I forgot he was out there until you said his name. I completely forgot about him yesterday until you just mentioned him.
I mean, I agree with you on the backers, man. I agree with you. Look, the one thing I've always harped with this young secondary is tackling, and I think it's gotten tremendously better. I really do. I think these guys are coming up, and they're coming up to hit people, and they're making plays. They're wrapping up. They're flying to the football. I'm not mad at these young cats on D. I know you're going to have some busted coverages just because they're young. They haven't played together a whole lot. And things happen like yesterday, man. That was so unfortunate what happened right before half. Because if that happens to us, if that's us, that's a pick 6 to the house.
Yes, sir.
Like it's just I'm not going to sit here and down any of these guys. Look, there was things we could clean up, like the blocking, and we'll talk about that. Like Dustin said, with the effort, but for the most part, the defense, I thought they stood their ground against an offense who, went into Tuscaloosa last week. They struggled in the first half, but in the second half, they looked like one of the best offenses in the country. So, there's you walk out of it with kind of a glass half full.
Yeah, if you were going to win this game, you couldn't turn the ball over, which check for Auburn, and then you had to create some. And that's the one thing that I'll say about the defense. It's now you're 2 SEC games in a row where you haven't created a turnover. So I don't think they're playing bad, but when we get the opportunity to change possession and grab some momentum, we got to start doing that, man, one way or the other. We got to find a way to get the ball every now and then, help our offense out, play complementary football. But that's really the only thing I got to say. I think DJ Dirk is doing a good job. I think Coach Crime and Charles Kelly are doing a good job in that back end. And we got some holes at the backer spot. And I like the young cast we got there. Listen, you guys remember how much I sung DJ Barber's praises, but I always said I think he redshirts this year. And we're putting together another solid linebacking class this year. So it's going to take some time to get those guys in there and get ready. And no one wants to hear that after losing 31-13. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, you know that I hate Georgia more than I hate Alabama. but I just got to have realistic expectations for where we're at right now. And yesterday, actually, I got more upset yesterday at the Cal, Arkansas, and the Oklahoma losses again because I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, shit, man, we should be 4-2 conservatively. We should be 4-2 coming in this bye. I'll give us dropping one of those because you lose close games sometimes. You blow some games, even good teams, you lose close. So I'll give you. You should have won all three of them, but I'll give you blowing one of them. But you should be at least 4-2, and I can make a strong argument you should be 5-1. And how much different would it feel then? If that was how we would be sitting here today saying, listen, bro, we're on our way. All that being said, I think now in the bye week, I love the game plan yesterday, Blake. I absolutely loved it. And I know that it wasn't nearly as explosive as it has been in the past and all that. But I think that Hugh Freeze went into yesterday and said, hey, I'm not throwing the pigskin 35 times a day and giving Georgia 2 or 3 extra possessions. Is a couple more 30-yard plays, does that outweigh 2 or 3 turnovers? He decided no. Let me pull up time of possession real quick. I know at the end it kind of got, Georgia had 31-28 to Auburn's 28-32. So we were pretty close there. And at halftime, or right there at halftime, at one point it was like even at like 14-14. So that just kind of seemed to be what Hugh decided to do. He said, I'm gonna come in here. Even on first downs, this is what will tell you what the game plan is with Hugh Freeze. If we get a big gain on first down and we still are snapping the ball with 10 seconds to go on the play clock, he's trying to grind the clock. Normally, Hugh Freeze gets a big play, leads to a first down. We're up to the line, ready to run the next play. That wasn't the game plan yesterday. They wanted to keep the Georgia offense off the field as much as they could, control it, shorten the game, and I think they did a good job. And then when you do that, your hope is, all right, I'm hoping our defense can give us a stand-up performance and not give up more than 21 or 24, and we'll be in the ball game late. And, it didn't necessarily work out that way, and I'm not attacking the defense. I thought that most of the guys played hard and did their job. So, yeah, you know how much we follow the recruiting rankings here. And Georgia's a team that has been recruiting at an elite level for a long time, and Auburn just started. And that's what that game should look like. So I'm not mad at the coach's plan. I like their plan. And I think, Blake, that if we do that moving forward, we'll win games. If we go to Missouri and play that way, I think we win. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment after what just happened to Missouri. But I was watching Missouri yesterday saying, I think y'all are frauds, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to reserve my judgment until this game. And by halftime, we were all going, oh, they're frauds. So I think if Auburn continues that way, there's a good pot. And I know we're going to, y'all know, I know. Boy, I've been preaching it. Auburn's got to get over the close game hump. But I really could see Auburn being 4-4 coming back home, man, if we do what we did yesterday.
I'll tell you this about Missouri, and I don't want to get too far off onto this, but I saw something yesterday of a team flat out quitting at Texas A&M yesterday. They quit. As soon as it got 17-0, their best player put a towel over his head, and he went and pouted on the bench. He went and sulked and said, I'm not getting the ball. I'm mad. Yeah, guys, you can't do that. You can't do it. I mean, I expect more out of Luther Burden. I think he's one of the best receivers in the country. And for you to be a leader, a captain on a team, and you're over there sulking, you're not even going into the offensive huddle, and you're not talking to your quarterback or anything like that. It just threw a bad image to me. And I think there's things that we can put pressure on Missouri, man. Their offensive line is cheese. It's not good. They lost their DC. That was my big question mark with Mizzou coming into the year. They lost their DC, Blake Baker, to LSU, and their defense, their D-line, they got dominated in the trenches on both sides of the ball yesterday. It was clear and obvious who was the best team and who wins, where football games won at in the SEC. They're won in the trenches, and it was obvious from the very first kick of who was better in that position. So I think we can go to Como and win. There was some things that happened yesterday that I do want to give some credit on, Dustin. And Damari Alston has carried the ball well the last 2 games. I think he's He's worked on the fumbling problem, and
Mm.
he's protecting the ball, and he's running hard. Jeremiah Cobb getting a little bit more touch. Um, I want to see him on the field even more. I think 23 is a game changer. I did like getting on the very first drive, getting the screen to Damari and getting him out in space, man. You got blockers out in front of him. Get him out there, let him get upfield. I thought that was different. That was something that we haven't seen a whole lot. And stop running RPO all the time. I know I kind of mentioned in the group, he was like, not a single RPO on the first drive.
Mm.
I like it. I think Auburn needed to cut down on the RPO a little bit with Peyton Thorne as your quarterback. So there were things yesterday that I liked. I think moving forward, it looked better than the previous weeks, and I'm with you though. It did sting watching Cal last night. Um, Arkansas beat Tennessee. That stings, man, because you look and you say, "Damn, Auburn should be. We shouldn't be 2-4." I can tell you that. So that's where it hurts.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I mean, there's nothing we could do. Someone
Yeah.
can't create a time machine and go back and fix it. All this team can do is learn from it. You got a bye week, and I put out the tweet yesterday, and I'm gonna stand by it. This team can still win some games. Now, I'm not even saying they can make a bowl. You know, I might be saying 3-3, and but
Yeah.
this team can win some games down the stretch. It doesn't have to finish 3-9, 2-10 if they play like they did yesterday. Since Peyton Thorne came in the second half versus Arkansas, he's thrown one pick. Now, hell, that pick cost us a game. I'm not trying to poo-poo it. It was a terrible decision, but if he can protect the football that way moving forward, Damari's holding on to the rock and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that we will win some games. I want to get to some comments here real quick before we talk about lack of effort from a couple of guys. John says, did anyone else hear Hugh Freeze say that the 4th-and-1 at the top of the fourth was supposed to be a design run for Hunter, but Thorne audible to his zone read? I did, and not only to go ahead and slice the Hugh Freeze throwing his players under the bus narrative away real quick. All the players said that too. The offensive line, Jarquez, they all said, yeah, that was a run play. So, it is what it is. It's super frustrating. We yelled and screamed last week about taking the ball out of PT's hands in those decisions, and he said the hell without audible and put it on me anyway.
What's funny too is like we were talking in the group chat yesterday. A couple people were confused about what the play looked like, and the confusion that got me is at the mesh point when Jarquez come off that mesh point. He seemed shocked that he didn't get the ball. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I guess I got a block now,"
Yeah.
and that's where we were questioning like, was that the play call? It wasn't the play call because Jarquez looked he looked lost. Like, oh well, I guess I got to get this guy because I didn't get the ball. Do I block? What? Like it just looked like he was super confused. And Peyton, for our coach sitting here saying that he's a thinker and he knows college football and all this, brother, he's trying to play hero ball at this point. He's trying to play hero ball. He's trying to make plays to try to gain confidence back from other players, coaches, something. That's
Yeah.
what that was to me. Man, you give 27 the ball. I don't know how many damn times I got to say it. You give 27 the ball. He is your best player. It's not close. He is your workhorse. You feed that man. He showed you yesterday yards after contact. There was a graphic the other day that was going around on Twitter. I mean, after first contact, he's still picking up 6, 7, 8 yards. It's crazy, man. Get 27 the ball. You should never walk up to the line and change the play and give you the option to keep it. And knowing they were ready for it,
Yeah.
they were ready for Peyton. Even even if he escapes that first tackle, he makes that first man miss. That safety was there waiting on him. Like it's just you weren't getting away there. There was nothing you were gonna do. Just give it to 27, man. Because I expect 27 to get 2 yards, Dustin. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's It's more evidence of Peyton Thorne pressing, and I feel like he's been pressing ever since he came to the Plains, and it
Yep.
sucks and it's frustrating. And he's played well the last couple of weeks. I mean, I play well, like putting him considering Peyton Thorne, played well for him. But still, these decisions in critical moments, he's just we know what it is at this point. Like he's
Yep.
going to make the wrong decision, and then I don't even know what to say when Hugh Freeze calls a designed run play and tries to remedy the issue, and PT still says no, watch this. So yeah, I don't even know what you do at that point. And I'm sure people in the comments are going to be screaming, "Well, you bench him." Well, does Hank Brown, if he's played this entire time, does he have only one turnover in the last 8 quarters? I don't know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that Peyton Thorne's running ability these last couple of weeks has kept us in some games that otherwise we probably wouldn't have been in. And but I know people are so far down the hate and Peyton Thorne track that nothing that I say trying to be fair to him is going to be heard. Ernest says, I think we get 4 more wins here at least. I can't give us any wins until I see it. Because I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Louisiana Monroe has already doubled their predicted over of 2. They are sitting at 4-1. I don't think Auburn's going to lose to UL Monroe, but there's no games on the schedule where I look at it and go, Auburn's going to destroy. But again, I don't think we're playing. I just don't think we're playing bad football. So
your path for 4 more wins is Mizzou, Kentucky, Vandy, ULM.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are if you lose one of those, you're probably not getting to 6 wins.
Yeah, for sure. And right now, it's while I'm even kind of saying Auburn might win 3 games, but if I'm really kind of leaning towards we go 3-3 and finish 5-7, and then you look back at those Cal and Arkansas games and say, "Damn it, man," or Oklahoma. Daniel says, on the positive side, Bama fans want Saban back. Listen, I'm not going to go too hard on this today because we are doing a reaction pod to Auburn losing to an arch rival, Georgia, and I am absolutely sick and tired of waking up on the day of the Deep South's oldest rivalry and having no hope. I'm tired of that. I want it to change one day. I think you all do. So I'm not going to do the whole troll Bama, blah, 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 blah. But Daniel, just know, brother, that I was anchoring down over here. Hey, now, Clark Lee, I see you, baby.
Yeah, Lank evaporated so quick. Let all Nashville know.
Let's go.
So only thing I'll say is those New Mexico State tweets hit like crack. All right,
yes,
they thought it was funny. They thought Pavia wasn't him. My only question is Hugh, why didn't you go get the man? Why didn't you go get Diego Pavia? You could have got him for some chump change. It didn't have to be $1 million. I would have loved seeing Diego Pavia in an Auburn uniform. We damn sure wouldn't be 2-4 right now. Where are we at? What are we doing? You let the man come inside of Jordan Hare and absolutely wax you. And then he said, hey, I want to leave the state of New Mexico. And you didn't even offer up. Crazy right there. That's something I gotta ask myself now. I would have loved to see Pavia in an Auburn uniform, man.
Yeah, there's a kid up at Syracuse too. I was watching Friday night, and I'm like, this would work. This would have worked. Mike Prima says, hell yeah, Vanderbilt beat Bama, guys. Great day in my book. Go Tigers! Mike down there on the bayou has nothing to do with Georgia, has nothing to do with Auburn, but he just decided to pop in and say, I see some SEC fans in here that might vibe with this. To hell with Alabama, right? You're damn right. You're damn right, brother. Galatians says, other than Alabama, A&M, and New Mexico, we are averaging 15.5 points per game. Red zone, Galatian, red zone. We got to find a way to punch the ball in the end zone, man. And I'm looking at number 13. Where you been, big fella? Where's Valdo been? We get down in the 20s. I need you. I need you to make something happen. Yeah, we got down there yesterday and just couldn't punch it in. And it's kind of the story of the year. So I think the offense is improving despite this 15.5 points per game average here. But ultimately, man, you got to punch it in the red zone. You can't trade field goals for touchdowns with teams like Georgia and expect to come out on the other side. And Oklahoma stout defense as well. We moved the ball a ton, didn't punch it in, and turned the ball over at the worst time. Well, our boy Chuck's in here. He says, I know Thorne may be playing a little better, but after the 4th and 2 situation, is it time to bench him instead of getting in the press conference every week and saying Peyton didn't do what he was asked to do? This is a fair question. Man, look, I don't know. I don't know. Like, because he hasn't played bad, but then in that moment when you got to have it, he's not going to do it. So I guess the question there becomes, if you play Hank Brown, are you ever up by 11 on Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Are you ever even in that position? And that's the question that just frankly I don't know the answer to. I have no idea. That first half was Arkansas. I had no problem with you mentioning him. He looked very scatterbrained and shot. So, but that's all we've seen of him. So I really don't know the answer to this. This is a good question and a good point. I don't know.
One thing I'll say real quick is I think Hugh's very adamant on Peyton gives us the best chance to win. So I don't think he's gonna bench PT. I don't.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. Galatian says, I'm not pleased with the loafing that's still on certain players. The lack of effort and accountability is concerning. Yeah, dude. So let's do this. Number 8, you got to step up, big dog. And I don't want to hear about freshmen and all this kind of stuff when it comes to that. Because Ryan Williams is a freshman. I don't know if you've heard it or not. The kid's 17. There's a freshman up there at Ohio State that's doing things. Wide receiver is a position where freshmen. I mean, look at Malcolm Simmons. Malcolm Simmons, he had a bad drop yesterday, but overall, Malcolm has come in and contributed. So, yeah. And I hope you guys have learned by now that I'm very understanding of the situation that Auburn is in, and especially when it comes to the young cats. I don't care how old you are, brother. You got to block, and that was Sunday morning. God forgive me. That was chicken shit. That's what that was. That was straight chicken shit. You didn't want to hit nobody. You didn't want to get popped. You literally saw the contact and threw your hands up. Brother, if you're scared to play football, get off the field. If you're scared to play football, then hang it up. He's a hell of a basketball player. Go do something else if you don't want to play football. It's a contact sport. And nobody, you guys know this, nobody sung Cam Coleman praises the way I did coming out of high school. I called the man a 6-star. And I said this yesterday on the War Report post game, and people were calling me a turncoat. You hyped him up so much, and now you're saying, what? Turn the game on. That was unacceptable. No excuse. No excuse. No excuse. And any of y'all that play sports, you know how his teammates viewed that. You know how his teammates viewed that. And he's going to have to make up for that. Because I saw that, and now I'm questioning, are you a dog or not? And if I'm questioning that, the people that are in the battle with him are questioning that. I know Cam Coleman's better than that. I know it. There ain't Jair Shorter out there. If it was Jair Shorter, I wouldn't bring it up. I don't have no expectations for him. But Cam Coleman, my guy. You remember the show, the part on Mr. Deeds where the Jets quarterback comes in there and he's demanding a raise, and Adam Sandler says, well, if you play like crap, do I get to come in and call you in and renegotiate your deal? That's how and then he was like, no. That's how I feel right now with that. Do we need to call you in to renegotiate this NIL deal, brother?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't have the numbers, but I'm assuming you got a little bit more than Malcolm Simmons did. And right now, I'm looking at, and it's not. I would never say that about performance. I'm talking about effort. I'm talking about giving a damn, understanding. Galatian, you see that AU right there on your picture? When you put that helmet on, brother, I need you to play like an Auburn Tiger. Me and Blake are on here today telling you that a 31-13 to loss to Georgia, it is what it is. We're not freaking out. But I can't co-sign lack of effort. Cam Coleman, you're Casper the Friendly Ghost out there, big dog. Show me something.
I just want to, hold on. Here it is. He is a dog when things are going correctly day in and day out. It's the same results. He has every right to not get hurt.
What?
Look, y'all. Look.
Soft. Well, that's a soft comment.
Look. You got to go 100%.
Yeah.
You can't be the loafing, not wanting to block. Look, we need to call 73 out as well, Percy Lewis, because that's flat out embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I mean, look lost. There was a couple of times where it looked like he didn't even know, like he was lost in protection. Like he turned around a couple of times and looked at PT and was like, and I was just like, how are we that we're in game 6? How is it like this?
Right.
You have played SEC football, dog. You also need to lose weight because you were too slow. Like, that was embarrassing yesterday. That was a bad performance. It was the false starts. They're just flat out getting beat, not even getting a hand on somebody. It's effort, man. It's effort, and I think you got to bring it 100% all the time. I don't want to hear because they don't want to play with Peyton Thorne and all that BS. That ain't it. That ain't it. You are a top 3 freshman wide receiver when we're talking about Cam Coleman. I see Ryan Williams. I see Jeremiah Smith both out here balling. They're both making plays. And don't tell me, oh, well, Ryan's got a better quarterback in Milroe. Milroe's just tossing that thing up and saying, hey, go get it. And Ryan's over here pirouetting on the sideline, looking like a ballet dancer and taking it to the crib. So you got to make plays, man. You got to make plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to let this one go either. Dan, I'm talking about that touch. Dude, this was crap. Absolute crap. And then listen, 31-13. So Auburn still loses the game. Okay. But SEC officiating is so bad right now. The only guy that had a view of it marked him down. The guy that couldn't see through all the mass of bodies, he's the one comes in calling a touchdown. Then we review it. It's like, wait a minute. We're going to go off the one guy that didn't have a good view? And Hugh Freeze might need to just start walking out there whenever we go to review and saying, hey, don't waste my 5 minutes. There's no point in wasting Auburn's 5 minutes because versus Arkansas, I watched the ball roll into a defensive back's hands off the ground, and the SEC office tell me it was an interception. So I don't know what Auburn has to do. I'm not sitting here claiming there's some kind of mass conspiracy against the Tigers, but Jesus Christ, dude, these guys are pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. SEC officiating is pathetic. Me and Blake have said it forever. They need to have their names on the back of their jerseys. If Hugh Freeze has to sit up at a press conference, if Peyton Thorne has to sit up at a press conference and answer questions about how they messed up, then these idiots need to sit at a press conference. We need to know their names. We need to know their stats. It needs to all be accessible to the public. And then they need to answer live questions because that was horrendous. Just like every other SEC game I watched yesterday was absolutely horrendous. They forgot how to spot the ball in this league. Every game I watched, man, you know the word. It's a cluster something when they're looking to spot the football. It's bad, bro. It's bad. One guy's 3 feet up, the other guy's 3 feet back. Then they meet and talk about it for 15 minutes. It's a joke, Daniel. It's an absolute joke. And that call was piss poor. He was clear as day short. Clear as day. Not even a question about it, and they gave him 6, man. Bad.
My thing is when you go back and look at it on the replay, there's no way you saw that ball across the plane. There's none. No way. There is no way you saw that ball cross the plane from where he was standing. He made a pure judgment call off of, I saw a helmet go across the plane. And that ain't how it works. That ain't how it works. Your whole body can go across the damn plane. If that ball don't touch it, it ain't a touchdown. All right. And that's what it was. It was just a fly decision of him saying, oh yeah, touchdown. All right. When you go back and read the lips. All right, when they meet up, he walks in and he says he did not get in. And then they talk about it. And I said, man, they're really about to give him this touchdown.
Yeah.
Now, does Georgia go for it on 4th down and quarterback sneak and probably get it? Yeah, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is a game of inches, man. Football is a game of inches. There could be a bobbled snap. There could be a messed up handoff. All right. There could be anything. Somebody, an offensive lineman, it could completely whiff. Anything could happen. I watched a game Friday night, Michigan State and Oregon. Michigan State pops a big play. Oregon tackles him at the 1. Michigan State hurries up. They get down to the 1. Guess what happens? Turn around, hand it off. Michigan State guy goes to jump over the pile. Oregon guy hits him. Ball pops up in the air. Oregon recovers it. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So that's why you battle. You battle for that call. It's because you want to play the next play and see if you can get a stop. Do we go 99 yards? Probably not, but we're still in the game. And I just don't know how you make that call like that. I really don't. Like, you got to be better at your job. And I agree with, they should have to go to the podiums, man, and give me an explanation of how you made that call.
Yeah. It's piss poor. It's frustrating. And guess what, guys? SEC basketball will start soon. So we'll get to deal with that officiating. Yay. Jonathan says, I don't want to see a defensive snap the rest of the year. I like this Cajun name, by the way. I don't want to see a defensive snap the rest of the year without Crawford, Harris, and Blackton, except for the occasional rest. Them boys are dogs. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think after this bye week, I wouldn't be surprised. I know this is offense, but it might be time to see what Tyler Johnson's got out there. DeAndre Carter, that was bad from Percy Lewis, and it's been bad for the majority of the year. So you got to figure something out. Yeah, but I agree with you, Jonathan, and I think you're going to see it. I think as the season goes, you're going to see the younger guys get more and more reps, not only because of the way the season is going, but also because they're learning the playbook. They're getting more accustomed to it. So, yeah, that'll, I think you'll see that, and I'm excited for it, man. We got to find some positives in this year, but I don't even think that's searching for positives. If you know what you're looking at, if you know what to look for, you can look at that and say, hey, to your point, Blake, about you talking to your friends, maybe this Auburn defense stats-wise doesn't look like previous Auburn defenses, but it looks different. I think your friend's saying that because he sees a whole bunch of NFL guys flying around that Auburn hasn't necessarily had, other than the back end. We've had DBs and that can make the league, but you see a guy like Keldrick Falk, and to the 4th and goal point there. How do I know 15 is not going to bust through and make a play for us?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Fire Freeze says, I was disappointed in the play calling, feed the running backs, run the ball. Fire Freeze, I agree. I've agreed with you majority of these post games. A little bit of a disagreement here, brother. I don't agree with every play call, but I think that overall the game plan made sense yesterday. Georgia's just a much more talented team. I know that I know that sucks, but they just are. And I think that Hugh yesterday was just trying to shorten the game, keeping it conservative on purpose. And I think we did, in my opinion, we were kind of feeding the running backs up until the 4th. If you look at Jarquez's numbers for the first 3 quarters and then up until the 4th, there's a big discrepancy. Well, we were down by 18. Like you're not gonna pound the A gap with Jarquez if you're down by 18. So I personally like the game plan, and then hearing that 4th and 2 call, which is my one big question, hearing what really happened. Now, y'all know me, I would have punted it. I would have punted it and stayed in the game because I'm thinking if we don't get this, it's over.
Yeah.
And maybe Hugh's thinking, well, if we punt it, it's over, and that can make sense too there. But I would have punted and kept playing the game and not let it get away from you right there. But I didn't have a huge problem with it. And then everyone other than the quarterback is saying that the call was a run, so I'm going to go with everybody else but the quarterback. So yeah, overall, I wasn't disappointed. I've been very disappointed in a lot of what Hugh Freeze has done. I'm not disappointed with anything that happened yesterday from his standpoint.
Nah, I'm with you, man. I'm not disappointed. It's like I said, I'll give him the talent gap excuse for yesterday.
Yes, sir. Thomas says, sounds like we need an O-line coach. No, I disagree. I think that they're playing well. I think the pass pro is sketchy at times, but when Hugh Freeze took over, what was the one position we all knew was going to need the most work? Boy, by the way, some of y'all are in here. We never should have fired Gus, huh? Some belt Billy said. Belt to ass.
First Dion, now Billy.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we did the right thing in firing Gus Malzahn. Okay, the man has lost at least 4 games every year starting in 2014. And he neglected Thomas. He neglected offensive line in the worst way. It was why he got fired, really, because Auburn's problem started to stem from that. He wants to run the football all the time, but didn't want to recruit offensive linemen. And not just he was missing on them. He wasn't recruiting the numbers required. He was trying to go. He was getting 4 or 5 guys the last couple of years. And Thomas Khalil Ellis just reclassified this morning. 2026 kid. So off the top of my head, that gives us 6, maybe 7. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Current commits on the O line, and they're all dogs, all of them. Broderick Scholl, Auburn has never had an offensive lineman with a skill set of Broderick Scholl ever. When y'all see this kid, you're gonna go, "Oh my God!" Like this dude is unfreaking real. Ty Buster, straight dog, shooting up the rankings. Tavares Dice, dog. We got guys, man. They're DeAndre Carter, already on campus, dog. Braden Joyner came in as a 3-star. I think he's developed pretty nicely under Jake Thornton. So I'm not on this train, and I think Jake's doing a good job.
I'll tell you this: everybody needs to give Jeremiah Wright his flowers.
My dude.
Jeremiah Wright has been playing his ass off. I'll give him that. Absolutely moving folks, bringing the juice for the Auburn O line. I was really, really impressed with him yesterday. I thought he played a damn good one.
Yeah, he's playing really hard, man. We allowed Freeze 4 years, but didn't allow Harsin. LOL, we are hypocrites. No, we're not hypocrites. Yeah, we're not hypocrites, brother. Nobody at Auburn's hypocrites on this. Come on, man. You know better than this. Brian Harsin was 67th in recruiting or whatever the hell it was. Yeah. Hugh Freeze is currently 4th. We just signed or got a commitment from a 5-star quarterback. Let me tell y'all where let's look at the 2 quarterbacks that Brian Harsin recruited to Auburn real quick. Holden Geriner. What's he done so far? Anything? Adrian Posse. Y'all know where Adrian Posse is? He's at UAB. He's a backup on a sorry UAB team.
Yeah, they lost by 70.
Yeah, you got to fire Trent Dilfer. That's a discussion for another day, but you got to fire that man. That's getting on my nerves. But yeah, bro. That's why. That's why. And we've been really hard on Hugh on this podcast, but they're like yesterday wasn't necessarily a Hugh Freeze thing. If what happened yesterday happens to us the next time we go to Athens, oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'll be right there with y'all on that one. But yeah, and Oklahoma directly on Hugh Freeze. So I'll be fair, right? Like I'll be fair. But yeah, the reason why that those things are going 2 different ways, I'll bring it up one more time. It's a lot, bro. One, being nice to people helps. People liking you helps.
Yep.
Just in your job, you work around people. I'm sure you work around some people. You work at a job, I would assume. Which people do you like being around more? If there's somebody that's happy and works hard and tries and is really nice to you, don't, even if they mess up, aren't you a little bit more lenient? So like that's part of it too. You got to be liked by your bosses, and you got to try to be liked. You got to try to be nice. Being a head coach in the SEC is a whole lot more than just on the field, unfortunately. And Harsin didn't do any of those things right. Actually, he did them at an all-time bad. So it's not hypocritical. Hugh Freeze is trying. He's signing the best recruiting classes that Auburn ever has. The results haven't been what we wanted to see on the field yet, but no one felt like Brian Harsin was even trying. And Ryan Williams came out and said, that guy never even tried to recruit me. I tried to talk to him and he blew me off. So yeah, it's not hypocritical, man. They're 2 very different situations. Hugh Freeze is trying to clean up Brian Harsin's mess in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying Hugh Freeze has been perfect, but Auburn is not being hypocritical at all in that situation.
Yeah, Harsin was a joke, man. Look, one thing I do want to say is what's up with all the illegal substitution penalties? If we get a stop, a 3 and out. I'm pumped up. I get off the couch. I'm like, let's go, great play, D. And then all of a sudden, it's illegal substitution. And I'm sitting here, like, knowing they're about to go on 6-7 plays and score, and it's going to be 7-0. I was like, because that's just the Auburn way right now. We're snake bit. But we got to clean that up. I did want to point that out. We got to clean it up. There's too many penalties. We're already bad on 3rd down, and we're still bringing 3 on third down. I'll never understand why we bring 3 and drop 8 on third down. Doesn't make sense to me. You can't give Carson Beck that amount of time. Alabama showed you last week when you pressure him, he gets confused. He throws the ball into tight windows, and when you give him time, like Alabama did in the second half, he can carve you up. So I didn't understand that, but when we get off the field, we can't keep extending drives for penalties, and they continue to go down and bite us and score points off of it. We got to clean that up.
Probably would have had a good field position too. 3 and out, they can
Yep.
punt the ball too. You're gonna be in good field position in a game that the way Auburn was trying to play it, like it's a field position game. So, look, guys, we're about to get out of here. Smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't. Big ups to Blake for playing hurt today, showing a little bit more heart
Yeah.
than some of the other guys out there. There was but mostly, man, most of the guys played hard. There was one more comment I did want to get to. What you got, Blake?
No, I was just saying I don't deserve to be passionate when I come on here. You know, I shouldn't have emotions or
Yeah.
talk about losing or everything. I should just keep my mouth shut. But yeah, I woke up this morning and I felt like absolute dog water, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna tough this one out because I love my damn Auburn Tigers.
Let's go. Let's go. Harsin classes were 18 and 21. Right. And that's not very good in the SEC. And then whenever Hugh came in on that last one, it was in the 50s. It was in the 50s. Hugh kind of pulled it back into the top 15. He flipped Keldrick Falk from FSU. He was able to flip Connor Lew from Miami, all in a matter of about 3 weeks. And look at those guys right now; they're key pieces. So yeah, again, Hughes had to come in from day one and clean up a mess that multiple guys have made. And Hugh has not been perfect. A lot of my problems with Hughes stem with his in-game decisions, but I don't have any problems with anything that he did yesterday.
I'll tell y'all this, and if this guy says it, I'm with it. I went TikTok live the other night, and I had Derek Brown hop in. And Derek Brown said, hey, because there was people going off in the comments saying fire freeze, he's not the guy. And DB said, hey, stop. We've had our talks, we've had our discussions. There are former players that have talked. Stop. The right guy has got the job. All right. And when he said that, I was like, hey, man, like, I think this is a guy that we can listen to. This is an Auburn legend, a great, one of the highest paid DTs in the NFL. So, he said, just you got to give him time because of what it was like when he come in. And, a lot of people think, I saw a comment a while ago, we have the roster to compete with Georgia. We do not, y'all. We do not. We don't. Like, if you look at, people saying, oh, getting beaten 31-13 is not improvement. The offense is improving. We moved the ball on one of the best defenses in the country yesterday. All right. We just didn't capitalize on some small plays, some small things. If you catch some of those footballs, it's a different game. I remember Ike saying yesterday, last year that would have been called trash wide receivers. He was like, but this year it's a different narrative because we hyped these receivers up. I can't remember what play it was.
When Malcolm dropped the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, when Malcolm dropped it. It's just small things, man, that we got to clean up. We are improving. We are moving the ball. I get on and watch ESPN analysts talk about Auburn's not doing this, Auburn's not doing that. We are moving the ball inside, in between the 20s. We're just not moving it in the red zone to score touchdowns. And if you can start converting on some of that and making plays in the red zone, it'll look it'll look better. But yeah, his play calling's questionable at times. I'm not disagreeing with that, but he's also putting us in good situations at times that we're just flat out missing. We're missing. We're not making the plays when they're there to be made. So it's you're 2-4, and give the guy another year to get some of his players in here and let some of these cats grow up, and finish out this year, and let's see where we go next year. Look, if we go to Waco, Texas, and we freaking lose to Baylor, then I'll be all for you and say, hey, look, we can start having the discussion. That's
Yeah,
where I'm
I
at.
mean, and we're about to get out of here, guys. We say this every Sunday on a reaction pod. This is not a projection pod. I'm reacting to the job that Hugh Freeze did yesterday. So when I see stuff like excuses, well, you go back and listen to the podcast last week. We lit him up, and then lit him up again on Tuesday.
Yep.
So not making excuses, man. You just this is a reaction to this game, and
Yep.
on this game, Auburn just doesn't have the dogs, and I hope that in the future. And I do have concerns about Hugh Freeze, but in terms of yesterday, there was nothing that I saw. Now let's see how it goes out moving forward. I think that we're going to learn a lot. That's all I got, man. I just do want to say real quick, everybody out there in Berkeley, California. Yes, sir. You're 0-2 versus state of Ron DeSantis. So, take that how you want it. Maybe y'all should put on some mask or go get and hide your face. Maybe you should go get another booster shot and maybe you'll feel a little bit better or something. I don't know. But yeah. I told y'all mid as hell. Me and Blake are gonna be right.
That was crazy, man, that guy come in here and clipped it. And, I mean, I think we were both speaking how we really felt at the time. And, I mean, I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to tell you straight up how I feel about a team. And when I said Cal is mid, I meant that. They're mid, y'all. They're going to win 6 to 7 games. And that is mid in college football. That's mid.
Boy, they got mad at that, Blake.
They got mad at it. They got mad at it. And what's crazy too is you clip a 14-second piece of the show. And you cancel out the part where me and Dustin both said that Auburn was ass.
Yeah.
And then you want to argue and say, oh, y'all never said that. No, we did say that. I continuously told you what Auburn was. We're a team that turns the ball over. We're a team that can't capitalize when we get in good field position. We don't make the plays that need to be made. That's just who we are right now.
Yeah.
That's just who we are right now. And I don't think they could handle it. They couldn't take it that you blew a 25-point lead in one quarter. So I don't get it. Was weird energy from the get-go. Our guy Thomas, salute you, brother. You've been great.
Love you, Thomas.
Great dude, man. But that was definitely a choice in my opinion. So.
Yeah. You guys know we've been hard on Auburn. It just means less ACC. My guy clipped us, said that we said Auburn was a better team than Cal. Not what we said. And now this morning he's saying that we never said that, and then he's saying that we did say that. My man's moving the goalposts more than they did in Nashville yesterday. So we see you, brother. It's all good. Like we said, Cal's mid. Let's go Hurricanes. I love it. You got clapped by Florida State too. And like I said, man, you just can't beat DeSantis. It is what it is. But hit that thumbs up button. And you guys know I hate politics, but they went that route, so I'm gonna go that route. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're gonna be back Tuesday. Let's see if we can talk about the second half of this season and how Auburn can we find some things and what can go right. And let's have some of these Sunday pods coming up that don't feel like this. And Blake, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm bugging, but I think we're going to go to Missouri and get a win. I'll hold me to it. I might change my pick the Friday before, but as we sit here today, I think we're going to go find a way to beat Missouri, and I think they might still be ranked. And even though they're not good, I'll be talking about win versus a ranked team on the road. So, yeah, man, appreciate all you guys standing here. It's a good crowd for a team that has lost 3 games in a row. I know it's never fun, so I appreciate you guys coming in here and always supporting the podcast. Fire Freeze, I saw you gifted the 5 memberships, brother. We graciously appreciate that. To our members, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do the Deuce Night film breakdown today, so that will be up for you guys this week. I'm going to get out there, like I said on the other day, the 18th. I'll be out there watching that. And next week, me and Blake are both going to be at Saraland and St. Paul's. That's going to be a big time matchup of 2 undefeated teams, elite prospects all over the field. We'll have good content coming out for you guys there. So, War Damn Eagle, love you guys. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Well, damn.